Hi, this is Kip from Malik. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the topic of surveillance or video footage in the context of workers' comp injury. So surveillance and video footage can be useful to prove or support what you claim happened, occurred in the manner that you described. So if you say, hey, this happened and that happened and X, Y, and Z happened, and there's surveillance footage and it substantiates what you say, then, I mean, you know, a video or a picture speaks volumes. But does the employer always provide the video footage? No, they're not. Like anything workers' comp related, this might be one of those things that you're going to have to request it. You might be able to submit a request to the employer's attorney or the risk management company involved with their claim. If that's not going to work, you might have to request that the Industrial Commission issue a subpoena for the video footage. Some entities require you to submit a Freedom of Information Act request, an Ohio Freedom of Information Act request for video footage. You typically see that with like correctional facilities and public agencies. So, but when you request the footage, to increase the likelihood that you'll get the footage that you actually want and that you need, versus getting rejected, you want to identify the precise day and time frame when the injury happened, and then you want to identify the precise location where the injury occurred. So this would be the address of the building. It would be the room in the building where this occurred. This would be the particular area where this injury occurred. The more specific and precise you could be, the more likely you're going to get the footage that you request. If you're very general and vague and you don't give any kind of real targeting information, they might just say, hey, I don't know what you're looking for. You're asking for potentially hundreds of hours of footage to be reviewed. So be very precise, more likely you'll get it. So a pattern emerges when you look at footage, when it comes to video footage, and that the pattern is that where the footage is very helpful to the employer, then the employer will either automatically, without you even asking, provide the footage, or you'll ask them and they'll give it without having to jump through these hoops. Maybe if video footage proves that you didn't have the injury, maybe that saves you and your attorney time of litigating the particular issue. But on the flip side, when the video footage shows dead to rights that the injury did happen in the manner that you describe, or it shows some smoking gun type thing, then you might find situations where the employer is not, they're fighting or they're pushing back providing the footage, or they might say, hey, the footage has been deleted. So you'll kind of see those patterns when it comes to surveillance footage requests. If it's really helpful to the employer, they'll provide it. If it's not helpful to the employer, they're not going to provide it. But the reality is, a lot of times I've noticed when injured workers request footage, they swear the footage is going to support whatever their position is, and a lot of times we'll get the footage back and it's like, either it's not like the way you described, and in fact that could be harmful, because you could go to the ER or the urgent care and you could say, hey, this is how the injury happened. We get the footage back, and the footage is a different mechanism of injury, and you would say, well, sir, it still shows an injury. And I would say, I agree, but the employer or defense attorneys would say, well, that's not what you described to the urgent care. How do we know that caused your injury and it wasn't somewhere else? Is that absurd? I agree. These things come up, and these things sometimes hold weight at the Industrial Commission. The other issue is footage isn't always retained. And a lot of times, if you know that there's going to be video footage, if you know it exists, what you need to do is you need to request it or have your attorney request it as soon as you know that there's video footage. So if you go to work every day and you see a surveillance camera above the area you work and you just had your work injury, don't wait 3 months down the road, 4 months down the road, and tell your attorney, oh, they have video footage, I know it's going to show the injury. Because at that point, it may very well be too late. You really need to let your attorney know the day that you hire him, and hopefully the day that you hired your attorney is very soon after the injury occurred, so that what they can do, your attorney can do, is they could send out what's called a non-spoliation letter, and it's basically going to tell the employer, hey, we believe you might have surveillance footage. If you do, don't delete it, retain it, and if you do delete it, that might be a separate lawsuit. So nevertheless, footage can be very, very critical evidence proving your case either at the industrial commission or at the trial level. So if you think there's footage, let your attorney know. Let's get the footage, and then we'll submit the subpoena, the FOIA request, whatever, and we'll get it. So anyways, this has been Kip from Malik & Malik. As always, I always recommend at the end of every one of these videos, you need to get a workers' comp attorney involved if you have a working injury in Ohio. And if you don't, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice. This stuff is so complicated. There's so many twists and turns that you need to be concerned with, that it's going to pay dividends to get a workers' comp attorney involved. What I want you to do is ask your friends, family, neighbors, coworkers, hey, who do you guys use? Otherwise, search on Google, talk to 5 people, talk to 10 people, find the attorney that you like, hire him or her, and then go from there. If you have questions, concerns, leave them in the comments, email me, call me. I'll try to answer them to the extent I can. Otherwise, I appreciate you for watching this video, and I 1,000% want you to stay safe, okay? Thanks.